What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dynasty Front Office Rookie Prospect Profile of the Week. I'm Austin Bell, and today we're here with Jesse Schneeman and Chad Mendoza. How are y'all doing today?
You said my name right. Nobody does
I've
that.
heard you say it like 3 times, maybe, so I figured I could get it right once.
I'm awesome, man. We're past the part where I say I'm really excited for this one. I'm medium excited for this one.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! We're not going to insult this Omar Cooper Jr. today, man. Chad, tell me something better. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Very, very, very excited. Couldn't be more excited to talk about
That's why you're my favorite.
Omar Cooper Jr.
There we go. That's more like it. Well, let's get right into it. Omar Cooper Jr., receiver at Indiana, national champion receiver, 22 years old, 6 foot, 199 pounds. Did run at the combine a 4.42 with a 1.55 split. Did a vertical jump at 37 inches. In 2025, he had 69 receptions for 937 yards and 13 touchdowns. Did have a rushing touchdown, but only on 3 carries. And then 2024, he only had 28 receptions, but for 594 yards and 7 touchdowns, and also had 1 rushing touchdown. So, Jesse, tell me a little bit about him. Tell me what you like. Tell me why you're medium excited over Omar Cooper Jr.
All right. Extremely physical, tough receiver with the ball in his hands, moves downhill with urgency. That's one of the things I really like about him. So you'll hear people talk about him breaking tackles and being a yak guy. One of the things I really like about that specific part of his game is that you can just tell when a player wants yards, is urgent about getting downfield and getting yards, and he has that. So it just stands out to me. Contact balance is elite for a wide receiver. Excellent body control. Hands are excellent. Had a few crazy one-handed catches. One versus Oregon. One versus Penn State. I didn't see any drops. I'm sure there were a couple in there, but I didn't see any in the games I was watching. Has a little route running chops. Has a nice juke. Like a juke move off the line of scrimmage and into his break. Pretty good sharpness and suddenness. And that's where you'll hear a lot of comps to Debo, and that this is where I think they're different. Is number one, Debo's a little heavier, I think they're the same height, but he's a little heavier. He's just not as stiff as Debo. He's a little sharper in his cuts. Just more fluid overall. So, but not really precise as a route runner. Sorry. I even spelled it ROWTE in my notes so that I would say route. Works really well off of RPOs. Really good blocker, good willing blocker. Very important. Again, as we said for Denzel Boston, guys that aren't necessarily complete players need to do little things well. And that's my issue with him, is that he's not a complete player, runs a very limited route tree. I did see a nice deep post versus Alabama, but you don't see that kind of thing very much out of him. Only ever plays in the slot or in a bunch formation. You don't see him play outside to get a free release. Did see corners attempt to press him, and he could juke away from it, but then he didn't get open after that. Like, he uses all of his juice just to get off the press, and then they're right there with him. So saw a lot of running his route into defenders. Doesn't seem to have a great feel for zone. My biggest question is, can he be a full-time player out of the slot? Because that's where he's going to have to play.
Okay. Chad, anything different? Anything stuck out from what Jesse said, or you just want to go ahead and go into your analysis that isn't mediocre like Jesse?
I don't think he's going to be a slot-only player. I think there's probably a little bit more versatility there. I think there's going to be a little bit more development that has to happen, but he wins in all areas of the field. The efficiency metrics are absolutely off the chart. Everything he does from a blocking perspective is really nice to see as well. I think he's going to be a kind of head down player, to start out in the NFL, and that gets you playing time. So even if he doesn't get the draft capital that we kind of want from him, which is back in first round, at least for me, maybe early second round, then let's say he slides down to the back end of the second or even early third, which I think is probably unlikely, but let's just say it happens. I think with the kind of player he is, he's going to find himself on the field more likely than not pretty early on. But as far as the kind of player he's going to be, I think he's going to have some versatility to him. I think he's going to player that's going to be used all over the field, in the slot and out of it. He's able to get deep. His intermediate routes is probably my favorite thing about him. to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I'm really, really, really excited about what he does versus zone coverage. I mean, you talk about a zone beater, a guy that just knows what he's doing on offense. Omar Cooper's that guy. He's one of my favorite players in the draft. He's been, as the process has gone on, he's been slowly going up my board personally.
I like him. I just think he's a specific type of player, and that he's going to have to go to the right coach, or I'm not going to trust it.
I'm gonna battle you back a little bit here, Jesse. Just to give you, obviously, I'm assuming you watched the 25 tape.
Yes.
So you are correct. Last year he ran a lot of slot roll with only a 9.7 average depth of target. 2024 tape was 16-yard average depth of target. He was exclusively an outside receiver. He actually finished up with more outside snaps at receiver than slot in his college career.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he does have the ability to do both. With the 30% missed tackle rate and being top 5 in college football last year with forced missed tackles, he's one of the guys that almost any offensive mind in the NFL is going to want the ball in his hands. Because to be real, for me, I think he has the second best contact balance in the class. I'm including running backs. I just think when the ball's in his hands, he is a weapon to go to the end zone at any given moment. Obviously, he doesn't have the elite track speed that you want to see out of like a Gibbs with the ball in his hands, but I think he has the ability to get that 15 to 30-yard play consistently, and that's why you're going to see it. I had a pretty off-the-wall comp. I know a lot of people say Debo. I'm actually going with another San Francisco receiver with Brandon Ayuk. I think he's that type of player. The way Ayuk dominates in zone and developed into a man beater. Teams just couldn't play man against Ayuk. I don't think Cooper's there yet, but coming out, Ayuk was absurd with finding the proper zone areas, and I think that's what Cooper is now. And I do think he's good enough against man to succeed. I mean, we saw it time and time again. Like an example would be the Penn State touchdown. I mean, that was straight man-to-man with a safety help. And that's one of the craziest catches I've ever seen. And he actually got 2 feet down.
He did get both. I looked at it.
Which is just ridiculous to see. But yeah, I mean, he's been one of the guys that I've been really excited about from the beginning. And the more I watch, the more I like, which is really good to see. A lot of times when, you watch a game or two, like, oh, this guy's so fun. And then you get to game 5 or 6 and you're like, this guy's pretty good. But I felt, he's the clear wide receiver 4 for me. But in this class, he isn't the tier breaks ahead, so landing spot can adjust that. If, as Chad mentioned, if he doesn't get to the end of round 2 or early round 3 and players like Boston, Concepcion get first round capital, decent landing spots, I'm trying not to be too stubborn and let that stop me from, keeping Cooper at 4 and putting him down a little bit where, the NFL told us they don't like him that much. So do y'all have any kind of comps that you do fit? Anything you'd like specifically?
Well, we said smaller, less explosive Laviska Shenault before we started, right?
Do not insult me like that.
Sorry to take you a lie, Chad, but I didn't think you were going to say it.
Yeah, that's because he wants to tell the truth here.
A lot of people are going to say Rashee Rice because he's used that way, but Rice wasn't used that way in college.
At all.
It's not really a 1-to-1 comp for me.
I think he would be really good in that Rashee Rice role.
I mean, I have a landing spot for you.
Okay, what you got?
San Fran, isn't it clear cut? Isn't it obvious? If he goes to San Fran in the first round, I'll take him at 106.
Yeah, it's going to be hard not to.
You want to hear something crazy?
Of course.
Daniel Jeremiah has him as his 19th rated prospect above Jordan Tyson.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's the real deal. I think that might be a little much, and Daniel Jeremiah should know more than me, but sure. I'm not high on Tyson. So I think they're closer than Tyson is to the other 2 guys, but that's me kind of factoring in health there. So I don't really want to get too deep into that with Omar Cooper. But yeah, I mean, I can see it. I think he's a very, very talented player.
I just wanted to say one negative thing because I just touched on kind of the positives, but
yeah,
the big negative for me is that I think sometimes he has an over-reliance on his physical attributes in his game. There's not like a ton of nuance to him as a player yet for me personally. But I think that's something that can be developed. I'm pretty high on him. Maybe not as high as Austin is, but pretty high on him. And the comp, and this is just a play style comp. It's not like a like how I think he could be utilized in the NFL, not specifically like level of talent, but for me it's Hines Ward.
Nice.
I do need to give my one negative, and that's I don't think he's a high point contested catch jump ball receiver. I don't think that's his game.
No,
I think
he's
he
not.
can win.
That's not a negative though. That's a cop out. That's just
no, like I
it's
don't
not
think
his
he's a
style.
contested catch receiver. I mean, that's just like I
Yeah.
don't think Denzel Boston's a burner. I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like I don't think he's that type of receiver.
He was
Yeah.
7 foot.
I don't
14
think that's a
this year,
knock
so no.
though. I don't think that's a knock. It's just not his game.
Yeah, 7 foot.
If an
14,
NFL team
50%.
goes out there and tries to use him as a jump ball player, then yeah,
Well, let's not get him to Buffalo because they might not know how to use him. so.
yeah. Go listen to our last episode on their deployment of Keon Coleman. If they go out there and they're like, "Well, we missed on Keon Coleman, but Omar Cooper Jr. is what we wanted Keon Coleman to be," then we're gonna have some issues.
How high would y'all have him in last year's class? Is he behind Igbuka and Golden for y'all?
Behind Igbuka, above. Yeah, probably above Golden, slightly above Golden. So out of the tier 2 receivers we've covered, he's my favorite, I think.
I'd have him behind both of those guys, but right in the same tier for me.
All right. I think
Clearly below Igbuka for me, but pretty close with Golden.
I feel the same. I think him and Igbuka are similar for me, but Igbuka was definitely more polished coming out. I
Yeah.
think I felt better about him landing anywhere and succeeding.
Right. Yeah, that's my issue. That's my issue with Cooper. Landing spot is huge for him. Although he works well off of RPO, very well off of RPO. So Tennessee would be interesting. Like I keep asking myself, would this player be good in Tennessee? That's kind of like, is he landing spot proof? You know, would he be good in Tennessee? Is sort of my question.
I think Tennessee is going to be a pretty different from what we've seen from them lately.
Yes.
I mean, I think
Completely different. They're going to need weapons, though.
Yeah,
That's
well,
their-
yeah, of course they're going to need players, but I think Dayball's offense is pretty player friendly. Maybe not, initially, but I think they're going to be a pretty pass happy offense. So if he does go to Tennessee, I'd be fairly excited.
I think you're going to see a ton of RPO with Dayball in Tennessee.
I'm cool with that.
You think they're going to run a ton of RPO with Cam Ward?
Mm-hmm. I do.
That would be definitely interesting.
Yeah.
I hope not.
I mean, he's not like a dynamic runner, so it's going to be a different look. But I do think they're going.
Okay. Well, I hope not as well. But Jesse, you said you'd be comfortable up to the 106. Chad, where are you at in rookie drafts? Let's assume he gets late first or early second round capital.
Late first, early second. Probably 108 is where I'd have him. 108, 109.
Yeah.
It was probably going to end up being a little bit above consensus, I think.
I'm curious to see where consensus ends up because as much as I like him, to be honest, here in what we would call a normal rookie draft, I think he's an early second.
Yeah,
I think he's that talent of player. I mean, I'm a huge fan of him in this class, but I think you're normally looking at like the 201 to 204 kind of range for this type of player.
It's really going to depend on the running backs with these guys, and then of course, like the draft capital is big,
Yeah.
but the running backs are going to be huge if we get 2 running backs with first round capital, or get 2 or one with first round, one with early second, or 2 with second round capital. Period. Then it's going to be really interesting because 3 running backs could potentially be going in the first and pushing down some wide receivers because the class is just loaded.
Yeah, that would
with
be
wide
exciting.
receivers.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I would definitely enjoy that a lot more. Cool. Anything else, guys, on Omar Cooper Jr.?
Let's just empty the notes. I did just look it over. No, I think that's it. My biggest concern, like I said, is he's not a complete receiver. He's not a precise player. So a little more polish. I'm gonna have to go back and look at 24 tape now. Now that you said that, because that was my biggest criticism, is that I thought he was a slot only player because that's all I saw him do.
Yeah, with them having Becker and Surratt last year, they didn't have to have him on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they played him on the inside so he could see the field consistently.
Yeah, it makes sense with Surratt. He's huge.
Yeah, and Becker is probably the best receiver on the teams.
Right on.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, this is Dynasty Front Office key prospect profile for Omar Cooper Jr. Tune in next week for Ty Simpson and Mike Washington.